Essentials here. For today's video, I'm going to be working on two requests at the same time. Someone asked for a TV riser and another person asked for a portable or detachable TV unit. This is a table tray that I got from Five Below that I'm going to be using for this project. This is pretty easy to assemble, and it comes with a stopper at the bottom. This is what it looks like when you're done assembling. Now I got 3 at first that I wanted using for the project, and then I realized that the trays at the top will not be needed, so I'm going to take those away. I'll be attaching just the bottom parts with zip ties. By using the zip ties, it's easy to cut them with a pair of scissors when you want to disassemble the TV unit. If you're new to my channel, it's so great to have you here. Now don't forget to click on the subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my latest videos. I figured 3 might be too small, so I added 2 more. To make this more interesting, I'm going to add the height on both sides by adding more trays. That looks okay, but it's kind of short, so I'm going to add another one on both sides again. The TV is going to be resting here, so I'm going to use a very strong, thick piece of wood and cover it with contact paper and place it on top. I'm going to be measuring because I like to add a little bit of design to this. Always remember to use a sharp X-Acto knife when making cuts on your foam board. It makes your cuts clean and precise. I'll be covering the bottom part with canvas panels, and I got a lot of these when they were on sale, but you can just use a long piece of wood to cover up the bottom part and it will work just fine. Before I go any further, you can definitely stop here. You want to keep it simple, you can just leave it the way it is. But then I like to add a little bit of design to this, so I went ahead and used the cutouts that I made from the foam board, and then I used craft sticks, made a pattern on the boards, and then attached them to the TV unit. I spray painted them gold, and they will be attached using command strips so that it will be easy to remove. Now this extension here was made with foam boards because of the part here that extended out just a bit. because I have a lot of these canvas panels, I'm going to be attaching the other designs that will be at the top to the canvas panels with tack nails. I cut the bottom parts of the designs at the top, while the ones at the bottom were left with pointy ends. I'll be attaching remote control push lights to this design, and here's what it looks like. I made another design, and this time around I took the same kind of boards and spray painted them silver. And then I used tape to make a pattern on the board. After that, I applied Mod Podge over the open spaces, and I used a gloss Mod Podge. I'll be sprinkling crushed mirror glass over it. Now this is the one that I use once in a while, and the link for this is going to be down in the description box below. I did not have enough for this project, so I went to Michael's craft store and got 2 packs, and each of them cost a little bit over $6. I'm going to evenly spread this out, and then I'll wait for about 30 minutes when it's not completely dry, and then I'll remove the tape. This can be left overnight to dry, but then I had a standing fan over it, which made it dry even faster. Now when it was completely dry, I shook off the excess crushed mirror glass, and then the open lines were covered with this mirror tape. This design reminds me of a wall decor that I made a while back, and the link for this is going to be down in the description box below. After attaching the pieces, I made something different for the middle. I placed a board that has been spray painted silver and marked where I wanted the pattern to be continued. I added diamond wrap around the canvases because the mirror that I'm using is not wide enough. I will need more lighting at the back, so what I did was to take an old mirror and attached LED strips around it. Now this mirror is going to add lighting at the back. This will also make the back look pretty because of the reflection of the design that will be on it. The fun part about this is that you can change the pattern. I just changed some of the boards at the top facing downward. If you're not into silver, you can use gold. Like I showed you earlier, this is what the gold design looks like. But then if you want to add a splash of color to your design, you're free to do that as well. Here's what mine looks like after adding a colored board that I got from Hobby Lobby. Now if you like, you can go ahead and add some of the patterns over the design. Remember that these are detachable designs, they're not permanent. These designs come in handy if you're someone that travels a lot or if you're a student. I mean, even if you just want to have something simple at home, this is a quick and easy way to go about it with just 9 trays from Five Below. This is a DIY video on how I made a table lamp with unique styles of drum shades. I used regular items for this DIY project, and I'm super excited to share with you guys how I made all of them. Now let's go ahead and get started. I'll be making use of washers. The full size is 1 inch and it's 100 pieces in total, and I got them online. I got 100 pieces because I'm going to be making use of a very large vase. These are the types of washers that they have in Walmart, and they use them with nails. But I'm not going to be using nails for this project. I'm going to be making use of just the washers. The lamp I'm making is kind of large, that's why I'm going to be using 1 inch washers, and I spray painted them gold using this gold Rust-Oleum spray paint. I got this huge large glass vase from a thrift store, and yes, the base for the lamp is a vase. I cleaned it properly, and then I started gluing all the washers to the vase. To make sure the washers stay in place, I'm using a strong adhesive and a hot glue gun together. I'm gonna make a pattern using these washers on the vase. And if you're new to my channel, it's so great to have you here. Now don't forget to click on the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my latest videos. I had to put the vase down and support it so that it doesn't move around to make it easy for me to attach the washers to the lower parts of the vase. There wasn't enough space at the bottom, so I decided to just stop here. I'll be gluing on gems to the washers, and I'll be using just a hot glue gun. This is what it looks like when I was done. And now I'm going to be making the shades. And I'm going to be making 2 different types of shades. For the first design for the drum shade, I'm going to be making use of an old drum shade that I've had at home. It's called a spider drum shade. I think it's because of where you have to place the bulb. So I removed the material around it and then used wood to support it. And be warned that this is going to wobble a bit because it's not strong yet until you add more wood around and glue it with a strong adhesive and leave it for a while. You will notice the top and the bottom are not so smooth because I tried out something else that did not work out, so that's why it looks like that. I spray painted it gold and kept it aside. I got placemats from Walmart, and these placemats are what I'm going to be using to cover up the sides. I cut the placemats to the size that would fit the skeletal design for the lampshade and started gluing it on. After using 2 placemats, I still had a little bit of space here, so I just cut a very little one from the 3rd placemat and just glued it on. Because the top is rough, I'll be covering it up with gems. Now beneath the gems and at the lower part of the shade, I'm going to be using bling wrap to add to the design. For the light source, I picked up this lighting from a store called Five Below. In the store, they sell items for $5 and below. So I picked up this lighting from there, and it uses batteries. I prepped it for spray painting by removing the globe and protecting the lighting by covering it up properly before spray painting. I spray painted it gold and reattached the globe back. This is how I placed the lighting on top of the vase before I had the shade that I just made on top of it. Now, I didn't like the way the shade was looking so plain, so I'm using a stencil, a peacock stencil that I used for a previous project, and the link for this project will be at the top right and in the description box below. The link for the peacock stencil is also going to be in the description box below. I just placed it on top of the shade and then spray painted it gold, but because of the nature of the material, it didn't really show so well, so I had to highlight the edges with gems. Now for the second lampshade idea, I'm going to be using a different lampshade that has the positioning of the bulb this time around at the top. So it's a different lampshade altogether. Because I want to increase the height of the lighting, I took a container that I don't use anymore and turned it over and glued on the lampshade together with the container using a strong adhesive. And I use an E6000 glue. I let it dry for some hours. And then this light from Five Below, I got a couple of them, and this is another one that I spray painted gold. And now I'm going to be decorating this part of the lighting to look similar to the design that's on the vase itself. I'm going to turn it over, and this is how it's going to be placed inside the shade. The glue is dry, so now I'm going to place this here and then use zip ties to hold the lighting to the iron that's on the lampshade. This lampshade has 3 irons extending out, so I used 3 zip ties to attach the lighting to the lampshade. I cut off all the excess, and this is what it looks like. And the lighting is so bright. I have other DIYs using this lighting that I got from Five Below, and it's coming up soon on my channel. I put the shade on top of the vase, and this is what it looks like. Now, using the same base, I have made 2 separate shades, one that's plain and the other decorated. This is what the darker shade looks like at night. It's so pretty, and the video did not do justice to it at all because it really has a captivating look at night. If you're using a glass vase, you can put string lights inside. This was a fun project for me because with just washers, a large vase, lighting, and placemats, I was able to get a cute decorative table lamp. Today's video is a DIY tutorial on how to make a swirl table. I'll be starting off with a poster board and cutting out strips from the board. These strips will be used for the top of the table. This is a requested video that someone had made a while back, and I decided to just go ahead and make the table because I have most of the items at home, and I ended up spending just $5 for this project. I'll be using gold tape to cover up the strips. Now you can also use washi gold tapes. If you're new to my channel, it's so great to have you here. Now don't forget to click on the subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my latest videos. As I was getting the main item that I'll be using for this project, I came across this board that was in the bin that holds little pieces of wood that are sold at discounted rates. Now this one was free because it was small and I got it from Home Depot. I'm gonna cut a circular shape out of this that's gonna be for the top of the table. Now that I have my round board, I'm going to be gluing on the strip that I just covered with a gold tape around it. I'll be drawing my own marble design at the top using a silver metallic paint. I'm using a thin Bristol brush to give me the kind of pattern that I want for my marble design. I'll be making some of the lines thicker than the others. I'm going to stop here, wait for it to dry, and then seal it off with a gloss Mod Podge. I'll be using wood that is of this measurement for the design that's going to be on the table. These pieces are the ones that I had at home, and you would notice that the names are different. This is the one that I got from the store. The one I showed you guys earlier is actually much more smoother, and like I said, I already had that one at home. So I got two pieces of the other type, which is not as smooth as the one that I had at home, but I'll use it anyway, and when I'm done with it, I will sand it down. I cut them all, and now I'm going to be gluing them together. This is a 10 inches round wooden board that I have at home, and this is going to be the base. This is a regular wood glue that is strong, but not thick enough. Because of the design, I'm going to need something that's much thicker, like this adhesive caulk. That's going to give me an instant grab when I'm making the pattern for this design. Using this is less stressful on your hands when you're using a caulk gun. I'll be applying the caulk now to the first piece of wood, and this is going to sit at the middle of the board. The second piece of wood is going to be slightly tilted to the side, and it's going to be somewhat halfway to the one that's at the bottom, and on the other side as well, halfway to the one that's at the bottom. And I'm going to be following this pattern till I get to the very top. Because the adhesive caulk is just holding them together, it's not permanently bonded yet. So you're gonna have to make sure that you're extra careful to just hold the piece that's at the top, which you just glued, to the one that's directly at the bottom, to avoid exerting too much pressure to the ones that's at the bottom that could cause it to fall apart. So it's really important that you just have pressure mounted on the wood that you are attaching with the one that's directly at the bottom, and making sure that it's also attached halfway to the one that's at the bottom, and going on and on till you get to the last piece. When I was done, I let it dry overnight. This is really strong, you guys. I was a little bit skeptical about the pattern and wasn't sure if it would serve as a table, but to my surprise, it's actually really strong and sturdy, because of the way the pattern actually meets at the middle when you get to the top. So it kind of like forms a balance somewhere in the middle. I'm just sanding down some of the wood pieces that I used that were rough before I spray painted gold. I spray painted it gold and left the bottom part. I'm going to be painting the bottom part black so that I can make another marble design there. I applied 3 coats of black paint before making the marble design with a silver metallic paint. When I was done with this, I let it dry and then used the same gloss spray paint that I used for the other one to serve as a protective layer for the top. I have a lot of PVCs at home, so I used one to make another table. Now, as you can see, it's white because I'm using PVC lattices, and when I was done, I spray painted it gold. And the marble design that I did at the beginning of the video is what I used at the top for this table. And at the bottom, I used marble contact paper that I already had at home. So what I did was to use the same marble contact paper on another round piece of wood that will be for the second table. So this is another way to have a marble design on top without painting. I'm attaching this with a strong adhesive and nails, and I'll be covering up the parts where the nails show with paint. This one is slightly bigger than the first one that I showed you guys. Now this is how both of them look like together. One where I used the PVC is the one at the left, and it's slightly smaller because the wooden pieces are a lot thicker than the PVC pieces. I'm so glad that I have 2 of these. Now I used lattices because I already had that at home, but the wooden pieces are a lot cheaper than the PVC lattices. But both of them look really pretty and I'm happy with the way they all turned out. DIY for today is going to be a petite glam table. I'll be starting off with trays that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'll be gluing 2 trays together. But before that, I'm going to make holes inside the trays with a soldering iron. And these holes will make it easy for me to pass the dowel through it. If you're new to my channel, it's so great to have you here. Now don't forget to click on the subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my latest videos. After a few hours, it was okay for me to continue with the project. I made 10 of these. And I'll use one singular tray at the top, making it 21 trays in total. Now this is the wooden dowel that I'll be using that I cut to the length that I want. And then I also picked up plaques from the Dollar Tree. And I'll be attaching 2 plaques together and then attaching the dowel to the plaques. I took it out and then I spray painted it silver. Now I'm going to be attaching string lights to it that uses a remote. I'm doing this because the trays are transparent, so that way I'm going to have lighting inside the table. The next thing I'll do is stack up all the trays together using a strong glue. I started with a Dollar Tree glue, but that didn't work out so well. So I'm gonna finish up stacking up the remaining trays using this. I got this adhesive from Home Depot. For the top, I cut leftover wood that I have to the size that I want, and then I also cut out the same size on a foam board. I glue them all together. And then later, I will attach it to the dowel that I have in the middle of the table. I covered up the edges with mirror mosaic tiles. I would recommend using 3 dowels on a stronger plaque at the bottom for better stability. The table was looking bare, so I added cutouts from Dollar Tree plates to it. I cut them to smaller pieces and glued them to the lip of the trays. And then I covered the open spaces with large and small gems. I forgot to mention earlier that I also attached the upper plate to the board that's on top with screws. Moving on to the second DIY project, and it's going to be a teardrop wall decor. I'm going to be using a trifle board that I got from the Dollar Tree and drawing lines where I can make the shape that I want on them. Then I drew a shape of a teardrop, but just half of it, cut it out, and then I folded it just to make sure that I get the exact same shape on the other side. I will continue tracing out the patterns on the remaining strips. The cutouts are not strong at all, so I'll be gluing craft sticks that I got from the Dollar Tree at the back. For the mirror effect, I'll be cutting out the shapes from Dollar Tree trays. I'll be attaching them with double-sided tape. I'm doing this because if I use a hot glue gun, it might melt the middle part of the cutout trays just a bit, but it will be noticeable. So because of that, I'll be using double-sided tape to hold them to the pattern. I want something unique and different for the outer lines, so because of that, I'll be using parchment papers and placing it on top of the pattern, drawing out the shape. But first, I'm gonna label them. It is really important to label the shapes so that after the pattern has been gotten, you won't mix it up. Now I'm drawing out the pattern on a parchment paper because I'll be using a hot glue gun to trace out the shape. After tracing the pattern, I removed the shape from the bottom and then I traced it out with a hot glue gun. When I was done, I took it out and I spray painted it gold. When it was dry, I brought it back in, and these come off so easy. Now remember the labeling. Whatever number you have on each of the glued pattern should be the same one that you attach to the one that you labeled with the same number. I'm saying this because being human, all the patterns are not going to come out exactly the same. My glue lines are not straight. And that was intentional because I didn't want a straight line. I wanted mine to have some kind of texture. And I loved the way it turned out. Here's the inspiration photo for this project. I'll be attaching what I made with this adhesive, and the link for this is going to be down in the description box below. I used masking tape to give me an idea on where I want to hang it before I started mounting it on the wall. This is what it looks like on the wall. And I used Dollar Tree items to achieve this. I'm going to be making DIY rugs. I got gray and black from the Dollar Tree. for this project, I will need the edges to be squared. So because of that, I'm going to be cutting out all of the curved edges. If you're new to my channel, it's so great to have you here. Now don't forget to click on the subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my latest videos. After that, I cut some of them into two. And then I'll take one full one and cut out strips that I'll be using for the design. When I finished doing the cutting, I realized that they were too thick, so I'm going to reduce them to maybe ½ inch. Now I'm going to be laying out the pieces in a pattern that's kind of irregular, but it's going to form a unique design in the end. I need smaller pieces, so I'm going to cut some of the halves into two. I have a particular design in mind, so I'm just going to be rearranging the pieces till I get the look that I want. The strips that I cut are going to be on the connecting lines. Now this is what I use to attach all the larger pieces together. I'll be using just one adhesive side. As I was doing this, I noticed it wasn't holding up so well, but then I thought maybe over time, maybe give it like an hour, it's going to get stronger, so I just kept going. I'll be attaching the strips with a hot glue gun. Now if you want to wash this, I don't think you're going to have to soak it in water. You can either dry clean it and vacuum it as well. So the tape that I used was not holding the pieces together as strong as I wanted it to. So I went to Walmart and got a much stronger carpet tape. I added it to the back and this is what it looks like. And then I also used a fabric adhesive and a non-skid rug pad at the back just to make sure that all the pieces stay in one place and they're all together. I displayed this in the kitchen, the living room, and the foyer, just so you guys can know what it looks like. Now for the second design, I'm going to be drawing out a shape to make some sort of pattern with it. I'll be tracing out the shape at the back of a rug that I don't use anymore since I moved to a different apartment. I started cutting out the pieces using a box cutter, but it was kind of rough. So I later decided to use a sharp pair of scissors, which gave me cleaner cuts. I got these from the Dollar Tree, and I'm also going to be cutting out the shape that I just made from it and adding it to the one that I cut in red. This is how I'm going to be arranging the pieces. And when I was satisfied, I glued them all using a hot glue gun, just to make sure that the pieces are together and they stay in place. After that, I placed them in the middle of another rug that I don't use anymore. And the reason is because I moved to a different apartment and couldn't find the best place for it. So I used that and placed the design that I made in the middle. And now I'm just tracing it out. And after tracing it, I'm going to carve out the shape. When I was done, I used the tape to attach both pieces together. So this is what I used for the first rug that I had to change it to the stronger one. So I'll recommend using this one because it gives a firm and strong hold. I'll be using just one side of the tape. I'll be using the adhesive spray and a non-skip pad at the back. I forgot to mention that I also glued on the pattern that I made to the overall rug before doing this. Now, if you like, you can just add what you get from the Dollar Tree together and keep it simple. Now here's what I made, and the color combination is because I used pieces of rugs that I don't use anymore. So here I spent just $5 for the rugs that I got from the Dollar Tree to add to the existing rugs that I already had at home. These are interesting designs and you can place them anywhere. I hope you all enjoyed this video and learned one or two things from it. Now don't forget to give it a thumbs up.